I went dumpster diving today. Found myself a little RCA 32-inch LCD TV. Obviously this thing's got a problem, that's why it was in the dumpster. Remember, I don't fix TVs, but let's see what's wrong with this one. Look what I found. This was in the dumpster at work. I went up to work to throw some garbage in, and as I was lowering the garbage bag into the dumpster, I see this just sitting in the bottom, just standing up against the edge. Someone kind of just placed it in the garbage. So I can't let a little TV go to waste if it can be fixed. Even though I don't fix TVs, when I find them, I'll take a look at it and we'll see what's wrong with it. So let's plug it in and see what it does. Okay, it's plugged in. Push the power button on the side here. See whether it does anything. Okay, power button pressed. Okay, there, RCA. We got a backlight failure. The reason I would ever entertain fixing something like this is because, one, it's small, two, it has VGA input. So this can be used with my security system, my camera, because my DVR has VGA out. And it's also got, of course, HDMI, but that's the only reason I would ever consider working on something like this. And it's small enough I could put it on my bench. It's not some huge TV. So let's pull it back. Okay, the screws are all out. Back should lift off, I think. Oh, one more. Always that one last elusive screw, right? Okay, now the back will lift off to reveal speakers. A single circuit board with everything on it. And that's the button input control over here. Got a backlight connector here going down to the LEDs. So it's either going to be a power supply problem or LED backlights, and it's going to be the LED backlights for sure. This is actually this is actually part of the screen here itself, right? The back cover just comes off. This is just the metal painted black for the back, and the backlights are inside here. So to get at them, we have to pull the screen apart. I'm assuming there's probably just going to be one that's gone open, and the only thing I would ever do on this is I would attempt to jumper the bad LED. I would never ever replace them because I'm not going to put any money into it. TV is not worth anything. It's a piece of junk. But first things first, we'll make sure that there's actually power getting to the LEDs, because if there's no power on this connector, then it might be a power supply problem. So we'll measure that first. Okay, 94 volts, and the lights are not lighting. Therefore, we have a backlight problem. I don't know what the voltage is supposed to be on this, but for a small screen like this, 94 volts sounds like it's probably in the correct ballpark. So let's get to the lights. First thing I need to do is disconnect the low voltage differential signaling connector from the panel so that I can separate the glass from the backlight. This plate comes off, and here's the connector right here that connects. Oh, I love the way they've done this. Look at this. Talk about cheap. They got just a cable going down to the edge connector. I mean, I could just unplug it on this side for that matter, but with the screws removed from the bezel, I can remove the front bezel from the actual screen itself. We still have to remove the screen from its bracket. Actually, the screen will just lift off at this point. This one's not glued in place. So to take the screen off, I'm going to have to loosen off the screws that hold the T-con board on. I've got the LVDS cable taped down. So just going to remove these ground straps. We'll remove the LVDS, and then I can slip the screen right off with the timing controller and everything attached to it still. So a couple screws here. and remove this ground strap on both sides, and this should swing out of the way, and I'll be able to lift the rest of the panel off of. There's a couple more screws here got to take out. Should be probably 2 more screws, at least 1 more, maybe 2. This should now allow me to swing down the circuit board and lift the back off of the set. Gotta be careful with these ribbons, they will damage easy, and it is of course taped in place as well. Of course they make things difficult, right? Not only do they put screws in, but they also tape them down with tape. Geez, they really don't want you taking this out, do they? There's that one, free. And then we'll do the same on the other side over here. Get this tape free over here. There we go. That one's free now. Almost free. Okay, now we've got our edge connectors with our drive ICs here separate from the panel, and if I lift the back off, the screen will remain on the bench, and then I can move the screen. I'm going to take this double-sided tape out here right now. I don't need it causing any problems. Go get that out of the way. Okay, now if I turn the set over, I should be able to lift that glass screen off and put it somewhere where it won't get damaged. Hopefully it won't get damaged. So I'll find a place to put it, but I can kind of set it up where it's going to be relatively safe while I work on the back. There's some more. They've got some more tape on here holding the panel in place. We got to remove this, otherwise we'll break the glass if we're not careful. So we got to make sure that we get any tape that they've put on there to hold the panel in place does need to be removed. Now I should be able to lift the glass panel out of here and separate it from the backlight without damaging it, hopefully. There we go. There's the panel out of the way. We'll just stick that out of the way for now. Now I can work on the diffuser. We gotta take the diffuser apart, get to the lights behind it. This piece should just snap off. There should be just some clips along here to hold this in place. Talk about cheap TVs. Now this is a repair that I would never ever do this for a customer. I don't care how much they offered to pay me to do it. I'm only doing it on this one because it's my own set. I found it in the garbage. But this will lift off. Just gotta pop these tabs out. A little bit of work and the retainer will come off the screen deflector, and then we can lift the screen deflector out of the way to reveal some LEDs. One of these LEDs is going to be open. Question is, which one? That's what we got to find out. We can pull out the other deflector. Oh, this one's held in place with screws. Better take those out. Usually this is just popped in place, but on this one they actually put screws in. Now we can measure the LEDs just using a regular diode test on the multimeter, and we'll find the one that's bad. Put a jumper wire across it. You really won't notice it. You might notice one area of the screen slightly darker than the other, but really it won't be that noticeable because I've done it before. And no, contrary to what people think, it does not really affect the life of the other one by much, because it's a constant current source. So power supply will just drop the current. Oh, they put screws in it and they glued it? Really? Okay, there's the white reflector out of the way. If I use my multimeter, I can measure across each diode, and when they're good, you'll actually see them light up a little bit. So one way I can do this is I can use my power supply. I can just test one strip at a time to see if the whole strip is working. So if I put my power supply across, for example here, we can see that all those lights work. I'm just giving it about 18 volts. Do it on the same on this one here, all those ones work. On this one here, I got nothing. So we know we have a fault on this top strip. One of these LEDs is open. So now we can use the meter. So say I was started on through the meter before, or I could just put a couple volts across them. Turn my power supply down to like 3 volts, and we can go across each one to see which one's working and which one's not. So I'll set my power supply down to about 2.9 volts. Got my current limiting down to maybe 20 milliamps, somewhere in there. And then we can just go through and see which ones light up. I don't know which side's positive and negative. It'll be hard to find out. I guess this is negative here. It's marked with a minus. So does that one light? Yes. Does this one light? Yes. Does this one light? Yes. Does this one here light? Yes. How about this one over here? That one lights. And we should get one over on the end here somewhere. Is it that one? Or is it which one? Oh, that one works. Okay, so it's going to be this one down here. That's the positive terminal. So positive terminal to here. And that light is foo bar. That light is foo bar. Right? So we need to bypass this light, and I can do that by running a wire from here over to the terminal down here. Easier way, of course, would just be to take off the paint off here and just put a short across there. I could throw an LED in there if I wanted. If I really wanted to throw an LED, I could just throw an LED, or I could just replace this one. But I don't have one. I don't have ones that are going to be the same color. Yes, the screen is going to be a little bit darker in this side of the screen. I know that's going to be it. Some people, that would be a real big issue. But a monitor like this, the only thing it's ever going to be doing is displaying camera images for when one of my other monitors packs it in. So I don't think I'll miss the lack of light on the LED, although I probably do have one of these chips that I could pop in there. We'll pop the top off of it, because I do have some backlights kicking around. There's the chip itself. I'm not going to change it. Not going to change it. Not worth the headache. I do have some backlight strips, but by the time I take an LED off of one that's a backlight strip and put it on here, the LED is probably not going to be any good anyway, so we'll just do that. Right? Now they all light up except for the one that's bad. Now I can put the screen back together. Throw the diffuser back in for what it's worth. Throw the little screws in to hold it in place. Usually these are just taped in place, or they sit on plastic little pegs. I've never seen them use screws before. At the end of the day, when I get this going again, I'll show you what the picture looks like, because it's really, I mean, if you look hard, you'll notice it, right? But it's probably not going to be that noticeable. Another thing with changing it is, even if I did have a new LED and I changed it, chances are the color shift will be different, because all these other ones have aged and the new one won't be aged, so the new one will be a different color than the rest of them. Okay, that goes back together just like that. And then the other two screens go over top of it. Yes, there's a possibility that there could be a speck of dust or two on here. I'm not exactly trying to keep it clean. Again, my set. Don't care. Just want to put it together and see it turn on. Okay, that's the deflector, or the diffuser, the reflector and diffuser back together. Now the screen. Grab the screen, drop the screen in place. You gotta be careful with it because it's got these little tabs on it everywhere, right? That like to tear and break. Drop the screen in place. The screen just sits in. Just like that. And there's little tabs over here that sit in their own little protected areas. There's ICs, there's integrated circuits on these little tabs. Okay, now the front bezel that holds the rest of it together can go on. And now they got the bezel back on. We can turn the screen over and carefully reattach the circuit board and put the screws in. Just carefully place it back on the bench. Slip the little board back in place here and secure it. This is the most delicate part because these little flexible PC boards are so fragile. Once I get these attached, I'll breathe a sigh of relief because now at least I don't have to worry about them getting damaged quite as easily. They may be damaged already, I don't know. But we plug the LVDS cable back in. We'll put the bracket on to secure everything in place. I gotta put the screws in here to hold the bezel on too. These are truly a disposable item, these TVs. That's why they're built so cheap. You don't even have a back on them now. This is actually part of the reflector, is the metal back here. Definitely designed just to be thrown away and recycled, which is what everybody does. This one wasn't even recycled though. This one was put in a dumpster. Should have been taken to the recycling center. But that's okay, because if it had gone to the recycling center, I would have never got it to show you guys what went around with it and how to fix it, how to jump around bad LED, which a lot of times that's all you really need to do if you don't want to spend any money. And a TV of this cost like $179, I think, or no, $149. It's a 32-inch. I've seen these for as little as $149 for a new TV. Now with the inflation that we've had recently, maybe they've gone up a couple dollars, but they are cheap. That's what I'm getting at. They're a very inexpensive set. Plug the power connector in, and then we'll see whether this thing turns on. There, that's the button. Hey, look, it lights up. And it's a little bit darker in this corner. You really don't notice it, do you? Let me throw the back on it. That cover just slips on and replace the screws, and then we'll be ready for testing. Now the problem is I don't have a remote control for this set, but I should be able to switch inputs and stuff from the buttons on it, hopefully. I mean, a lot of these TVs, if you don't have the remote, you can't do much. That's especially true for the newer smart TVs, although this one's not smart. This is just a dumb TV. So I should be able to cycle through the inputs, I would think, on this. My universal remote obviously would control it if I needed to. I could probably program up my Harmony remote and it would do the basic functions, and probably even the advanced functions too. Last but not least, the stand. I think if the stand hadn't been on it, I probably would have left it where it was. I get so many TVs that I get given to me that people put them on the wall and they throw the stand away. And of course, trying to get rid of a TV that doesn't have a stand is impossible. Okay, let's see how this thing looks with a picture. I'll first boot it up so you can see what it looks like. So you can see that, yeah, it might be a little bit dimmer up in this, whichever corner it was in. It was this corner. I think it was that. Yeah, it was that corner. And yeah, it's very slight. Very slight. I should have a source button on here to switch inputs. I'll try to bring up the tuner and just do an auto program if I can. How do I do this? TV. Let's select TV. I don't think I did that right. TV. Okay. Let it switch to TV, and then I'll do an auto scan. I just got it on analog cable here. We'll just do an auto scan. So I'm into the menu. I need to run an auto scan, so I'll just figure out how to do this. I guess I go over to channel, and then I gotta go air cable. I'll just put it on air because I don't have obviously don't have a cable connected, so yeah, I do want to scan, and that should do it. No, it won't. Apparently it's waiting for me to press the OK button on the original remote, which I don't have, and it will not go through the auto scan, if you can believe that. What a piece of crap. Oh well. I don't know what button push to do it. Move and select is the left and right. Okay, so move to yes, and then I can select it by pushing one of these buttons here. And it doesn't do it. I went and got my Harmony remote, but it wouldn't control it either. So we're going to have to plug an HDMI in and just run it off the cable box and see how it looks. So there it is. I've just got it hooked up to my cable box now. And as you can see, the picture's fine. No issues with the, you won't even notice the LED that's not running. I couldn't get it to scan the channels because I guess I need the enter button on the remote. And even though I tried my Harmony remote, I put the right model number in. It doesn't control anything. It doesn't control the volume or anything. So I guess the right remote is needed to do an auto scan for the AV input, or for the tuner input anyway. But using the HDMI inputs, as you can see, picture's fine. So that's another one saved from the scrap heap. No parts required, just a little bit of solder to jumper out a bad LED. And this is not going to affect the life of the other LEDs whatsoever, because the power supply will compensate it. Well, it's current regulated, not voltage. So even though we need 3 volts less, it regulates the current through all the LEDs that are in series. But that's the problem with these sets, is the LEDs are all in series, so all it takes is one to go out and it shuts the entire set down. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.